What's going on, everybody? We are back for episode, I believe it's 5 of Earth's Mightiest Idiots, where we are nerds and we are idiots, and we're nerds who are idiots. So hello, fellow idiot.
5th episode. So thank you for everyone who made it possible.
Yes, we have thoroughly enjoyed creating this. We hope that you have enjoyed the small ride we've been on thus far. Want to give a special shout out. I told you, I don't lie. We're going to shout out commenters, only if they're nice to us. And Share 6 was very nice to us. Shout out to Share. Awesome channel. You guys are great. There's a bunch of exclamation points in there, and I could not agree anymore.
Thank you, Share 6.
Yes.
We appreciate you as well.
Yes. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Oh.
Oh, bada bing. All right.
Words. I like that.
We have a lot to talk about, and that is not hyperbolic. We had to do like a rundown before recording because there is a ton to talk about upcoming in this episode. We're going to recap we're finally both done with the first part of Stranger Things season 4. So we're going to get to that. We have watched the first episode each of Miss Marvel. Episode 2 is technically out at time of recording. We have not watched it. We're going to talk about episode 1. Parts 4 and 5 of Kenobi. They're here. News to talk about. We're going to battle some characters in which I will probably be given the superior one. If
that seems to be the pattern so far.
If history means anything. So first, let's reveal our shirts, as we so often do. You also have a hat that's very visible, but what are you rocking today?
All right, so my apparel today consists of this. I am classically trained.
Classically trained.
On the old NES controller, very nice. And I'm also wearing this hat in memory of Alderaan.
Shout out. We'll
never forget.
Correct. And I am wearing, we're actually going to use this shirt to segue into some news. The Spider-Man pointing meme of there's Andrew and there's Toby and there's Tom. So look at all our friends are here.
That's fantastic.
So let's just talk about how there's a new Spider-Man No Way Home extended version coming in September. We don't know a thing about it other than that it's coming in September. Why it's coming so late beats me, but I will pay just about any amount of money to have 10 more minutes of the three of them on screen together. So
that's it. Give me popcorn, take my money. I'm all in for another sit down.
Yeah, the movie will not be anything different other than hopefully some more awkward Peter Parkers doing awkward Peter Parker things. Next bit of news. We can all laugh at this together, which is an unintentional pun because it's about Joker. Joker 2, I'm still trying to figure out if this is rumor or rumor based in truth, but apparently Joker 2 is being bandied about. Lady Gaga, I like saying her name that way. Lady Gaga would love to play Harley Quinn, which I don't necessarily dislike. I think that'd be an interesting casting choice. But the reason she makes sense here is because it might be a musical. And my God, if I've ever wanted anything less, that's what it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm maybe it's rumor. I don't know if it's confirmed. I saw it floating around, that old internet, but I don't know. I can't really jump on board with that. I'm Lady Gaga, good for her. Very talented, beautiful voice, fantastic.
Great. The Star is Born. I saw that movie. I was forced to. Very good.
Movie. Excellent movie. She's in it with Rocket.
Correct.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think there's a need for a sequel to that iteration of the Joker. I think it should be a one and done and appreciated as such. And I also don't think if it would be set in the same setting as the last one, I really don't think Harley Quinn fits in it too good to begin with. So
yeah, First Joker was a great movie that historically I think made the most profit of any movie ever because it was shot on such a small budget.
Yeah.
It's also the type of movie I never have to watch again. Like it was so good, but like I don't need to revisit it.
Yeah, there's some movies that are good and then you move on from them. I think this is one of those movies, and I'm probably one of the few who wasn't totally blown away by it. Not my Joker, but I do appreciate it as a good movie, and I just think we gotta. If someone were to ask me, someone who matters, who puts these things together, I would offer my advice for free and say no. That's where I'm at.
Advice you might say yes to, or not advice you might say yes to, a question you might say yes to, excuse me, advice you might offer positive praise for.
Sure.
Hayden Christensen is down for a Darth Vader spinoff on the Disney Plus. I mean, why wouldn't he be? It means he gets more money, but I think that would be pretty cool.
I'm going to give a surprising response to this. First of all, shout out to Hayden Christensen. Hayden Christensen.
It's a hard name to say. I stuttered over it.
It is. You say it too fast, you trip over it. Hayden Christensen.
Correct.
On the excellent job he's doing on Kenobi, and I love having him back. And Vader, ever since his reappearance in Rogue One, has just been badass.
He gets more and more badassery every time he's on the screen.
And I can't wait to talk about that. But
which is, by the way, another reason why we established in episode 1 he will never appear on the battle wheel. He's too strong. So
exactly.
Want to point that out.
Yeah. That said, I think Vader is a character where less is more. He's more terrifying. You know, he's a more terrifying figure in where he's placed in those moments. I think you might get like a Vader oversaturation where he loses some of that certain je ne sais quoi that he has appearing in other movies. So I think where it would, in one hand, I would be, obviously I would watch it. I mean, it's a given. But I think it would take more away from Vader than it would add to him. Yeah, that would be where I'm at with that. I don't want Hayden to get work, so maybe have him in some flashbacks with Ahsoka. You know, throw him in other things. You could throw Vader, sprinkle him everywhere. He just makes, you know, he's like salt. It makes the dish better. But on his own, I think it's not a good idea.
I don't disagree, unless, of course, it was like, oh, here is a super limited 3-part series. Like, I don't need 6 parts. I don't need 5 hours. You know, something small, tiny. I don't know.
Well, that's the problem. You'd have a super limited 3-part series that would get massive viewership. And
season 2.
Season 2, season 3, season 60. So, you know, small doses.
Yeah, and we can use this as our springboard into Kenobi. Before we get into the legit conversations of Kenobi, of which there are a million we're about to have, I just wanted to point out a few funny things. Because when I watch things, probably because I'm a nerd in that I'm a nerdy nerd who is also a nerd. Obviously I enjoy these things, but I enjoy writing. Writing is literally my career. I took screenwriting courses in college. And so I'm always looking at like, oh, that was lazy writing. Oh, that was funny writing. Oh, this doesn't quite follow anything. So in episode 4 or part 4, spoilers, of course. I don't know why this would be spoilers because I'm sure you're caught up, but spoilers.
Yeah, let's just get the disclaimer so we don't have
beginning now. The third sister had trouble interrogating a 10-year-old child. And so I just thought that was funny. Obviously, it's Leia who's very headstrong, but just thought that was interesting to point out. Sure. This one, I spent too much time thinking on this.
I know where you're going with this, but continue.
This next one, I spent so much time just stewing over while the episode was going on. Obi-Wan Kenobi swims into the base, the Empire base. He comes out of the water and he walks around the whole base and he's not wet. There is no water dripping anywhere.
You actually surprised me because that was not where I thought you were going to go with that.
There are plenty of other things I could really point out, like how they're just hiding a child walking out under a coat. Like that was pretty stupid.
That's a big one. The one with him not being really that wet,
does he have like a force exo barrier? Like I didn't get it.
I'm going to assume, and again, we're making some jumps here.
We are.
If you've remember the good old Phantom Menace, when they go to swim to the Gungan town place, whatever, they're miraculously will at least look dry when they come out. So
and that's because the actors don't want to be wet.
Yes, I'm gonna so I'm gonna say, and those robes are probably very heavy.
Yes,
I'm gonna say that when he swam into the base, and in Phantom Menace when they swam to the city, maybe there's some kind of energy field which keeps things good. So when they pass through it safely, they're dry, instant dry.
Sure, we'll take it.
And it takes care of their hair also.
Yes, because his hair was still looking nice and Ewan McGregor fluffy. It was nice.
Or it's just the Force.
Yes, that which you can use to explain all. And then
works with everything.
two things I wanted to point out about part 5 that have really nothing to do with anything, but just thought they'd be worth discussing.
Sure.
Again, spoilers. When they're firing away at that blast door,
Yeah.
all she does at the end is just take her lightsaber and cut a hole through it. We could have saved a ton of time if we just did that.
That is true. That is
a ton of time could have been saved, but the suspense would have been less.
The suspense would have been less, and I think it was the buildup. It's not really, it's the psychological terror. It's the intimidation. It's the, So I think obviously if they wanted to get in, they could have just got in right off the bat.
Yeah.
But we all know there was more to Reva than that.
Mm-hmm.
We all know Vader had his own strategy. So I'm all right with it.
And my final critique before these are the most minor critiques in the world because I've thoroughly loved Kenobi. But my last critique, while Liam Neeson watch continues, Hayden Christensen watch has ended. So his face makes appearances in episode 5, and they did not make any attempt to de-age him because boy, he looked like he was 45 years old.
There was a visible.
He looked old.
Yeah, there was a visible difference.
I would argue he looked older than Obi-Wan.
Yeah. I just chose to
suspend your disbelief.
I just chose to overlook that and just assume my glasses were foggy, or something like that. That was an easier write-off.
But I did kind of like the way they used flashbacks in episode 5, part 5, whatever, you guys know what we're talking about, was really cool because this was the first one they really went super heavy-handed with the flashbacks, and it worked on both fronts. They used it to explain how Obi-Wan got more and more aware of Anakin's temperament, but they also used it to explain our theory that we had from the very start, which I'm sure most people had, is that she was one of the younglings. So I don't know where you'd like to begin with your Kenobi discussion, but I've been thoroughly enjoying everything I've seen.
Okay, well, it was a perfect visual metaphor. It was heavy-handed, but I think it's perfect for what it was. That said, I am ready to talk some Kenobi. I'm going to start with this. So the wonderful scene where Vader is absolutely...
We have action figures to depict.
We have action figures. We have props. I'm this excited to talk about this. I felt like this was a great episode for a number of reasons. Easily the best standout episode for me of the episode so far. We really got a glimpse into just how powerful Vader is. We've known, from the comic books and the other stuff and what's implied, but we never really saw to the degree in which we did with this. He grabs a starship taking off.
That was so cool.
And he yanks it down and then rips it apart.
Yeah.
And it was something that you would have only seen maybe in the Force Unleashed. Oh, come on, what is wrong with me?
We can't speak today.
I know, what's wrong? I'm sorry. Force Unleashed, with Star Killer, but it was sick, and it reestablishes, as if it had to be reestablished, that Vader is just a powerhouse, and it was awesome. And that's kind of a scene that I was waiting for quite a while.
And it seems trivial after watching him take down a starship, but him just throwing up all these stoppages of the lightsaber, just like a wave of his hand. That was cool.
That was just awesome.
It was a way to also explain his power, but his skill in relation to her skill. Like, he is just clearly a more skilled.
He wasn't
fighter.
Even trying. That was the best thing. He could have killed her, a million different ways.
He threw her the lightsaber. He's like, let's at least make this fun,
Yeah, no, it was great. I do also like that the show did not break canon, because I had some concerns about. I knew the Grand Inquisitor wasn't dead, so I mean, great comeback, great appearance by the Grand Inquisitor.
And she's technically not dead yet either, from what we know.
I feel like they left it open-ended. I know there's some rumor they want to give her own show. I don't think it's necessary, but because they didn't fade to black, it's possible.
What are they going to call it? Like the Youngling? That's probably what they'd call it.
Who knows? But that said, I also want to point out that most of my theories so far have been pretty much on the money.
We've been pretty accurate as a whole, I think.
I've been doing pretty good with these. So there's that. I'm gonna say until we hear confirmation that she's alive, I'm pretty sure she is. But I'm still taking credit that Vader kills her because,
well, yeah,
because I have to.
If she dies next episode as a result of injuries, that is still Vader killing her.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to, but I'm still taking props for it. So yeah, and I loved the Grand Inquisitor just taunting her like that and just.
We still don't know how he returned. We're just assuming he took a bubble bath in the back to tank and that's it. But we still don't know.
His race has 2 stomachs. So he got stabbed in presumably 1 stomach. He's got a spare. So between maybe that, the back to the dark side, maybe he was just too scared to die like that.
The Force, who knows?
It could have been anything.
And this is, I want to point this out too. So hear what I'm saying, YouTube, before you yell at me. Star Wars, canonically, as a whole, is inherently pretty stupid. There are a lot of silly things that they just use as means to explain other things, right? We can establish this, 2 stomachs being one of them, crazy things that, they can just write away to make it more entertaining. And we all accept it. I accept it. It's great.
Sure.
But people in the Facebook comments saying that Obi-Wan is the worst show they've ever seen, they can't believe Star Wars is becoming so blah, 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 blah. Just shut up. It's a silly concept from the start. You've accepted it for 50 years or whatever it's been. Let's just keep going.
Yeah. Don't be a hater. If you're gonna be like
no
that,
reason.
Come on, just stop. So there's that. I did have some concerns because, like I said before, the line where he says, when I left you, I was learning on the master. I was wondering how they were gonna resolve that without making that line worthless. This episode did a great job through use of flashbacks and everything else. Really sticking it to Vader that he has a lot to learn and what his Achilles heel is.
You will always be a Padawan, or until you learn this, you will continue to be a Padawan.
Until you stop feeling the need to prove yourself, you will always be a Padawan.
Yeah.
Right on. That was great. So that was awesome. I hope. We kind of had Leia more than I would have liked for the show.
But she's cool.
She is cool, and it technically doesn't break canon. It doesn't, but it also makes me wonder why, given how well she knows, Obi-Wan, that she spends, 10 seconds comforting Luke when he dies. Oh, they're there. Luke knew him for approximately 10 minutes in comparison to what the time Leia got. But I did like the clever reason behind this, that she named her son Ben. Now,
that makes sense.
Very clever. Don't think I was not aware what you were trying to do.
Yes.
We're trying to make that sequel trilogy better retroactively.
That's fine.
On to you. I am on to you.
You know what? Speaking of naming things, I didn't realize this. The droid is named Lola because she had a bird in real life named Lola.
Oh, I did not know.
The actress did. The Carrie
Fisher.
Carrie Fisher had a bird named Lola.
Okay. Right
I just thought that was super cool. Cute little thing.
I'm going to show my age here. I might have said this before. I could be wrong. There is an 80s movie I watched at my dad's house on VHS called Batteries Not Included. Lola looks exactly like one of those. So, if you want to check that out, I don't know. These things are always inspired by all sorts of other things, Flash Gordon, all sorts. So I would like to say, and I could be wrong, it could just be similarity, but it looks like one of those little robot alien things.
So we're left with part 6 ahead of us next week, which I think we might just make this decision now. We'll wait to record again next week until we've watched part 6.
I also want to throw one out. This is more of a
so we can talk about
it. With Star Wars, particularly this show. Everyone who was complaining, oh, it's this, it's that, who picked it apart. If you've ever read a book, not every chapter is as exciting as the chapter before or after it, but it's telling a whole story. So maybe before you run your mouth,
just give it a second.
Watch the whole series and judge it after it's done. Yeah. Because all the haters on Reva and blah, 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 don't you feel silly now? Don't you feel silly? She had a little more depth than you gave her credit for.
And we knew from the jump. The second we questioned how she knows it was Anakin, we both went there. Like, oh, she was probably an escaped youngling or something.
Because there's no other way she would know. She'd have to.
And that's a cool little storyline. I mean, again, kind of convenient where it's just like, oh, I just hid and he didn't know I was dead or I was alive. He's pretty strong with the Force. He probably should have known, whatever, it's fine. We'll accept it. We'll move on.
Well, he even acknowledged that he knew it was her the entire time.
He did, but at the time of executing the order, he should have also known that there was still another child alive. He should have felt it.
That's true, but I know some of those, well, I'm sure Reva's not the only one who got snagged. I mean, the Inquisitors were made up of not just Jedi who were tortured into compliance, but there was also kidnapping from parents that goes into I think Clone Wars has it covered as Harvest or Operation Harvest or whatever. Watch your Clone Wars, it's covered.
So there are 3 things I'm looking out for in Part 6. Obviously, Part 5 fades to black with baby Luke sleeping in his little cot. So clearly, in some capacity, he will have something to do with Part 6. My last 2 things I'm looking out for might be related. Maybe not, might be related. We're still on Liam Neeson watch. We're still on Qui-Gon watch. I want to know, was he not shown yet in the Jedi tomb? I want to know more about this Jedi tomb that we saw in Part 4.
Yeah, that's actually, we kind of skipped over that. I wanted to go back to that. Jedi tomb, very cool, but it also makes me realize I wish there were some Jedi. Yes, I know we could probably Google every single Jedi that was in there.
There weren't any known ones yet.
Yeah,
right?
we got one of them. Yeah, one of them is like help Ahsoka, whatever. I was hoping we'd see something like, Mace Windu in there or whatever. I do think it's incredibly screwed up, and I love it that the youngling in there was likely Reva's friend that she has to stare into constantly and just see that.
But it fuels her more.
Yeah, it fuels her more, but I mean that's got. I mean, you think having a picture of someone you miss is rough. How about having their body?
That's messed up. Yeah,
complete with students' little training cap. Love it.
Do you think? I mean, if we see Liam Neeson, it will be in the form of a Force ghost. We've established this, but
has to be. Yeah.
Is it possible that Qui-Gon's body be in that Jedi tomb? I guess anything's possible.
Well, anything's possible, but I'm going to go with nay. Just because they burned his body.
Oh, it's a fair point.
So maybe they took his ashes. And maybe there's a little urn in the little.
That's right, a little urn. I actually forgot that they cremated him. So then my other, maybe it was just to spook Obi-Wan, but like, why introduce something so cool and sadistic as a Jedi tomb when it really doesn't serve a purpose story-wise?
I think it does on a deeper level.
Because it's an expensive set for nothing.
It is, but I think part of it is that just to show how dark that these people are. But I think also there was an episode of Rebels where the Grand Inquisitor used the corpse of Luminara Unduli to draw other Jedi to them. Maybe they plan on using the same kind of thing to give people hope that, hey, they're okay, come get them. Or maybe this is another little distant attempt to help with the sequel trilogy. We're drawing the Force out of these bodies. We're keeping them preserved to draw the Force essence or the midichlorians out of them, so that when we clone Palpatine, we can figure something out. We can make this seem like it makes more sense. These movies aren't as bad as we think they are. That kind of thing. Look, we had a plan the whole time.
If they find a backdoor way to make me accept that Palpatine was a clone, they're the smartest people in Hollywood.
Well, I'll say this. Love Star Wars. And a lot of people hate The Last Jedi. I wasn't a big fan of that movie either. But Rise of Skywalker was easily my least favorite favorite Star Wars movie. It was incredibly loosely based on a book called Dark Empire, which is now in the expanded non-canon universe, but done much, much better in the expanded universe than this. There was a whole Clone Emperor thing and essence transfer and all that crazy stuff, but it was done well there, whereas this was just not. There was no, you know, it was to me, you know, a twist, a plot twist, a big moment like has to be earned.
Mhm.
And there was nothing in there that was earned. It was rushed to wrap it up. And look, Palpatine's serious, you know, pulling the strings. No, sorry.
Yeah, didn't do it for me.
Sorry. So, but that's that.
So thus concludes our Obi-Wan discussion. We will talk next week about the finale, the lasting impressions of it. We're going to jump now into Stranger Things, but it actually reminded me, your homework was to watch Stranger Things. Mine was to watch The Batman for the first time. Yes. So just very quickly, I want to throw in a couple little thoughts here. The Batman, AKA Batman, AKA Sparkly Batman. It was good. It was different, which is fine.
Definitely different.
It was real in a very Unreal City.
More grounded. It was more
grounded. Yeah, Unreal City in an unreal way. It felt more real. I'm still unsure how I feel about Edward from Twilight, Robert Pattinson. I'm still not how I feel about him. He was good. It's not bad. Just very different. I enjoyed the couple
emo thing going on. A little emo thing.
More than a little, but I enjoyed the several twists, and I thought the story was written quite well. The twists and turns were really cool.
I agree.
The Riddler was less Riddler and more Joker, also because his riddles were not difficult. But it's fine.
They, you know, they've never been really terribly difficult, to be honest. In all his appearances, it's like he picked them out of a highlights magazine. Shout out to highlights.
Shout out to highlights. He was just so maniacal in a way that I don't think we've ever seen the Riddler before. And again, new is fine. I have no problem with new. But if there's the Batman 2, aka the Batman, the Joker you're introducing better be sadistic beyond belief, because we've already been there. We've already gotten there.
Yeah, I didn't think this Riddler was really Joker-esque, but he was. I mean, the movie really reminded me of Seven. You know, if you ever seen Seven, great movie. It was kind of like a noir Seven-esque detective. You know, it was great. I like that they explored how Batman's just figuring out what it is to be Batman.
And he had the diary that said year 2 on it, like it was the whole thing.
And he's angry, and he's Robert Pattinson, and you know, he's figuring out, they're exploring the detective thing with, you know, he's a really not great detective if you really watch it, but that's okay. We're figuring the Batman out. That's okay. I didn't love the Riddler, that it was so different than, you know, the question mark jumpsuit goofy.
Well, that wouldn't have fit in this world.
No, it would not.
It would not.
No, it would not. But I did like it. I actually love the scene right in the beginning where he's right in back of him, you know, like a Michael Myers-esque. You know, and he's there. And so I thought all that was good. I love that he was always there. By the end of the movie, he was like literally just right there.
Yeah.
And I like that Batman didn't even catch it. He gave himself up. So really, the Riddler won the entire. I mean, the bad guy. Yeah. This is a movie where the bad guy essentially won, and there's not many of those, and that's great.
Yeah, and like I thought the actress who played Catwoman was great. I thought the acting, for the most part, all around.
Zoe Kravitz, I think.
Yes, all around the acting was quite good. The relationship between Lieutenant Gordon and Sparkly Batman was very interesting. Might be another one of those movies where I don't know if I need to revisit the same world. We could just leave it here, but I'm sure they're making 12 more movies.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be a sequel. I gotta say, my favorite Batmobile will always be the Batman '89.
That was a cool Batmobile in this one, though.
Yeah, it was a cool one. I love that. Again, we're just figuring out how to be Batman, but we have a muscle car that's visually modified, not finished, and it's sick. Like that whole chase scene
on super cool.
Yeah, so that's easily my second favorite Batmobile.
The Bat Cycle was pretty cool in this one too.
Yeah.
Used less. It was more in that like journey opposite direction scene at the end, but it was still cool.
Yeah, no, it was definitely cool. I enjoyed the and I really actually like the interaction between Batman and Falcone. I like that he kind of, you know, really you're almost like, oh wow, I mean, he's maybe Thomas Wayne wasn't the greatest, that he was not this saintly figure.
But then, of
and
course,
he still
Alfred,
wasn't.
Alfred
still
comes
wasn't.
in and yeah,
Alfred clarifies, and so the truth was somewhere between what Falcone said and what Alfred said. But I thought it was great, and I love that interaction. I liked Bruce's relationship with Falcone in the movie. I thought that was all good stuff, and I think the makeup job on
super good on Penguin,
unbelievable. Colin Farrell, man, holy cow,
he's a good-looking fella.
He is, and in that movie he was not. No. But that was a lot of makeup, and very cool. Very cool.
My only big complaint that I have, other than being kind of indifferent still on how I feel about it, it didn't feel like a superhero movie, which is not the complaint. That's fine. I think the intent was that it should not feel like a superhero movie. But my God, if you're going to put me in front of a TV for 2 hours and 45 minutes, there needs to be a little more pace or action happening. I feel like it was very long.
Very
long.
It did. It did feel long, but at no point did I feel like, all right, already, I'm done. It was noticeably long, but I was fully invested. Where in some movies where it goes on and, I have a rule: there's no going to the bathroom during a movie. So
well, I took a couple pee breaks, but also when you watch it on the couch, you could pause it and do that. So
yeah, see, I saw it in the theater. So whether it was 3 hours or 6, I was gonna have problems because I have to see the movie to its completion.
Yeah, I took a couple pee breaks and we got through it. Sarah fell asleep during it 3 times, so she was tired. But that's whatever. So I've watched the Batman, guys. Finally, I did it. But Stranger Things, what we're really here for. Your thoughts first, because you actually saw it more recently than I did, and I think we both mostly agree on it. But your thoughts first.
Loved it. I absolutely loved it. I liked Vecna's, the whole connectivity established. I mean, the thing that threw me was I knew that I figured out, Michelle and I actually both figured out that that character in Hawkins Lab was one. But we figured, we got that out pretty quick. Like that's definitely one.
Never would have connected him to the 2 other characters that he is, though.
Yes. Well, the thing that threw me, and I'm gonna say, wet my noodle a little bit.
Ooh, wet his noodle. Spoilers, by the way. Spoilers.
Canon. Spoilers, by the way. Was that we know that what threw me when the family moved, to the house and they experienced those interactions. I was like, okay, so Vecna's in the upside down versions of this house. He's interacting with his family just like these other people, but I assume that he was in the house before them. I never put it together that the kid was manifesting these powers and killed his own family.
Yes.
And sent his father to jail. Once that was thrown in, I'm like, oh, that's
super
it.
Cool. And then he becomes Vecna.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this. Okay.
But before you jump into your thoughts, the only thing, I'm not always as astute with some of these connections, but I recognized from the jump, I was like, Vecna, the character, is going to be someone, because we have yet to see a humanoid upside down character, villain, whatever. And I was like, well, this is someone, whether it's someone from the 1800s or someone from 40 years ago, it's someone. I didn't know who it was.
Yeah, no, I think same thing. I didn't know. I figured he had a connection to the other guy. I just didn't realize. I thought, was this guy, because we didn't know at that point how old Vecna actually was, because when you didn't know it was the kid, he could have been there for God knows how long, So I at first I thought, is this like, does this kid have powers? Is this guy connected to Vecna? Is this Vecna's son? Is this, whatever. But it was weaved together in such a way that it made sense, and I was satisfied with that connection.
They did a very good job of even making the episodes longer. Is sometimes like I get worried about that sometimes. Like, sure, I want more story, but do we need it to be longer? Can we tell it in a tighter way? But they use their time efficiently and effectively, and I think the story they put together was great. I'm still a little upset they're still in Russia. It's been a long time in Russia, but like everything else is great.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe wrapping up Russia is a season 5 thing, because who knows?
I don't want to wait that long.
There's a season 5. We know that's coming. But actually, now this is number of questions that this I had to process the show because questions were formulating in my brain.
I did some light reading after watching episode 7.
Oh, there we go.
Be like, what did I miss? What am I making sure I'm still caught up on? You know, go to all the places to read the stuff.
Yeah. See, initially, we know that from season 1 now, that 11 opens the gate in 1983.
Yes.
But we know from episode 7 of season 4 that when she banishes one away, he goes to the Upside Down
and becomes Vecna.
And that's in 79.
But I'm also curious. This might be muddling up your point, so I apologize.
Sure.
Just because he got zapped into the Upside Down, he becomes Vecna. Humans go into the Upside Down seemingly all the time now.
That's exactly where I'm going.
Okay.
I'm so glad because you're following my logic with this.
Okay, yes.
Humans have gone into the Upside Down multiple times. No one's been instantly transformed, right?
Never,
hasn't
not to my knowledge.
No, it hasn't happened. We know the Upside Down exists before Vecna is there. So it's not like he didn't make the Upside Down. I don't believe 11 made the Upside Down.
No.
I think she didn't know she was sending him anywhere. I think she just used her powers. I don't think she had I'm sending him to this place. Don't think that's the case. This is what I do think. The Upside Down clearly exists prior to Vecna going there.
Correct.
I think that I really have to string this along. I'm very proud of this. That the reason we all know 11 didn't remember these traumatic things until she went back into Nina, yada yada yada. Okay, I think when she opens the gate in 1983, when she's in that tank, when she's in that psychic headspace, then she sees the Demogorgon, and that's when she has that psychic link and it opens up. I think she was being influenced by Vecna to open that gate because she didn't know about the Upside Down. Vecna was already in the Upside Down and in true monstrous form. They have a connection. He influences people. She already was traumatized by what happened. She didn't remember anything. She makes contact with the Demogorgon. I would like to think that Vecna just subtly just guided things in this direction so that the gates can open, because that's the whole reason he's killing people.
So he's early MCU Thanos, just sending other people to do his job.
Yes, and I also think that just like Dustin established, he's working for the Mind Flare. Yeah. It's not like he's not controlling the Upside Down. He's under the direction of the Mind Flare. That's definitely the case. Which goes to the other part about him being transformed immediately when sent. I think internet, think that the Mind Flare somewhere behind the scenes was guiding things along to get number one there, to make him into what he is. Whether it was the Mind Flare kind of influencing one, maybe giving him powers, or maybe being aware of the powers he has and seeing him as a tool, so that when he was sent there, he didn't even touch the ground before the Mind Flare took him and said, "Yo, you're working for me."
Yeah, my theory was one of two theories. Was either maybe he was the first human to enter the Upside Down, and that was just the reaction that occurred. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. Kind of lazy. The other thing, or the other theory being, people who've had powers like one and 11 are the only two left at that time. Back then. No. Who else is left?
Actually, no. Number 8. I have thoughts on that too. But season 2, number 8 escaped the lab also.
Sure, I forgot about that. Yeah. But 1 and 11, to our knowledge, are the only two of the numbered people who have entered the Upside Down.
11 has not entered the Upside Down.
Has she never? Where have I been? Do I pay attention when I watch TV?
She has battled the Mind Flare from the lab. She's done, but she herself has not been in the Upside Down.
So if anything, this F up on my part actually maybe enforces my theory. Maybe powered people who entered the Upside Down have that reaction.
Well, yeah, maybe the Mind Flare is of interest to those people.
Yeah. And so if 11 steps in the Upside Down, who knows?
Who knows? Going with that also, we saw what I thought was hoping would be a plot hole, the Demogorgon in Russia and that brutal scene. But it also got me thinking about a number of things. First is, we've never seen the Demogorgon move like this. In season 1, We've seen flashes of it here and there, jump scare, whatever. It kills Bar, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
I think now that we've seen it move and how savage it is and all that stuff, it's very clear to me that it did not try to kill Will at all. It's not like Will was so skilled when he was hiding in the Upside Down that he just evaded it. He could never outrun that thing. He could never overpower it.
Mm-mm.
It's aware. It's a hive mind in the Upside Down. So to me, and we've established in 7 that it's like a foot soldier, like Dustin said, which I think makes sense. I think the Demigorgon's role was to capture and contain Will, not kill him. I think he was being, whether under the guidance of the Mind Flare or Vecna or both, it's obvious if the Demigorgon wanted to kill Will,
it would have.
It would have killed Will. And
yes.
this episode 7 clearly proves that when you see it just rip apart these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, Will isn't doing some Metal Gear Solid hide under a box thing to avoid it. There was guidance to what it was doing. And I think that's pretty obvious.
I am very much looking forward to the final 2 parts of season 4, if only because we keep seeing this promo material of Eddie just slaying his guitar in the Upside Down. And that has the potential. I mean, nobody actually knows context for it, but that has the potential to be like one of the coolest scenes in Stranger Things. And I'm sad it might mean that he's using that as a distraction to sacrifice himself, because I love Eddie. Eddie is a super awesome character.
I think he's the best new character. No, I'm not throwing shade on Argyle, but I think Eddie's the best new character.
I read something about this, and I'm stealing what they said, but I agree with it. Argyle is like your funny neighbor next door. He has his utility, but in reality, he's mostly useless, whereas Eddie is firmly entrenched in every single thing that's going on. And the theory I read is that maybe he's open to sacrificing himself because he knows that his reputation back in the real world, the upside right side up, is tarnished, and no one will believe him that a demon killed Chrissy. So I don't know. I think it's interesting to talk about. I'm just looking forward to that scene really on its own, but I think everything is going to be super cool in the next 2 episodes.
Yep. And I guess my last 2 points I would make with this is that let us not forget Steve was pretty injured from those down bets, and his injury looked pretty gnarly.
It was bubbling and stuff.
It was. I think we haven't seen the last of the consequences of that injury. I think there's more to that.
Yes.
I think that there's more of that. So that.
And I hope he doesn't die. I like Steve.
Oh, I love Steve. Also, going back to number 8 in episode 2, who was not a fan favorite, most people did not like that whole.
Which maybe why I forgot about it, truth be told.
Exactly. I thought it was okay, not my favorite part. But something of interest to think about is if you look in, again, in this last episode, most of the numbers all have similar powers, moving stuff with their mind, doing different things. The tests were similar. One acknowledges 11 as being either his equal or, whatever, but essentially they're all the same. It's worth noting that number 8 has no power set remotely like 11 or 1 or the others at all. So the question becomes, is she number 8 from that sequence, or is she a number 8 from a different set of kids? Because all of them were pretty much the same, but not 8. So is there an 8 that was killed and she's a different 8 from another group, from another
she's 8.2.
Yeah, because her powers are nothing like 11's at all. And it doesn't mean, I'm sure she could run into 11 in the lab. I'm sure they made contact or whatever. But, and she also wasn't, killed in that group in 79. So, she could be a replacement 8 from a dead 8. But regardless, her powers are completely different from the others. And I think that's worth noting. And she didn't die. So I think we could see number 8 again.
Yes. I hope, by the way, before we're going to tie a bow because we got a lot more to talk about still, but I hope we're done with flashbacks for the most part in Stranger Things, because if I see 11's young face put onto another child actor, it was abundantly bad. It was evident that they were doing that.
I don't think it was that bad.
I noticed it because
it wasn't perfect.
Her faces were emotionless, because if she actually displayed emotion and opened her mouth, it would throw off the process of taking her face and putting it on another body. Kind of like how, like, when they put Luke's face on another actor, they couldn't really have him.
Yeah, the first time around, it was pretty rough.
It looked like that.
It didn't matter because it was just too awesome. We could look past it.
Exactly, but it looked like that to me.
Yeah. Okay.
I liked the way that they managed to do that flashback set of scenes, though, by like putting current day Elle in flashback situation to avoid more of this terrible dilemma.
Sure.
I think it worked. I didn't really question it from the start. I still don't know what to think about the Doctor. Like, are we supposed to like him? We're supposed to hate him?
I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the things I'm thinking about too. Because if we see him in season 1,
like, he's the reason all this started.
Yeah, I mean, him in season 1, he's a big jerk. He's the big, outside of the monster, he is essentially the human monster. Then we see him in this. Is he still cruel? Yes, but he seems very protective of 11 and very nurturing to, I think it was 10 was the one that died at the beginning. So there's another side to him. So I don't know. I think he's still sort of a villainous jerk, but I think he's less a villain and just more of a person who, the ends justify the means kind of thing.
In his head.
Yeah. In his head, So I think he's the stark contrast to the other scientists played by Paul Reiser. But I do think that maybe he's not as villainous as we thought. And then there's also the perspective of we might have an unreliable narrator as well. When he says, 11, what have you done? That could be Herman. He obviously knows what happened. He remembers 1. So I think we have an unreliable narrator. And when we see him in the beginning, we might be seeing 11's memory of that moment.
That's true.
Not a flashback for him, but a memory of 11. So we have to factor that in also.
That's true. Okay, Stranger Things, fantastic. July 1st, coming around the corner. We're getting 2 exceptionally long episodes that I can't wait to watch and talk about. But now, before we do our battle, we're going to spend a couple minutes on Miss Marvel. My initial thoughts on Miss Marvel. What's the point? I'm not displeased that she exists. I think the show is quirky and fun. I think it has potential. But if I get through the entire first episode and still don't have a single inkling of why we're telling this story, there's no conflict. A family conflict, sure, but that's not like MCU conflict. I don't know what a villain could be, might be. Is there one? I'm disinterested, and I don't want to be, because I want to like it, but I don't know what the heck's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think we're getting like the MCU Wonder Years, where here's this coming of age story. We're getting a little bit of that.
And there's value in a coming of age story. Like, listen, Kamala Khan's character, when she first came out like 5 or 6 years ago in comic books, was praised everywhere. Super cool, well written. I have zero problem that this character is now coming to the MCU, but you got to give me a reason why.
I think this is going to be one of those things where it just is what it is. I think I do like and understand why they changed their powers using this bracelet.
But they still did do a stretchy thing.
They did do the stretchy thing.
I think the bracelet, now that we're talking about it, they better have a good way to explain it, because boy, do I hate just random family heirloom that gives me powers. They better find a way to explain it.
I've heard a couple different theories on it. They're going to have to explain it. I'm assuming, given that she's going to appear in the Captain Marvel sequel, The Marvels, I'm going to assume it's some kind of, and I think I've heard this before too, that it's an alien tech, maybe, Kree or Skrull or whatever. And, I'm sure, that didn't come from Pakistan. It's clearly from another place, maybe the same place the 10 Rings are alluded to.
Maybe.
Who knows? But I do know why they changed it up, because they are going to make a Fantastic Four movie, which stars a stretchy man.
Yes.
And considering her powers are pretty much identical to that, we had to change it up. So
I don't hate the powers that they gave her, and it fits with the cosmic stuff of Captain Marvel. And again, they did do that light stretchy thing where the photon, I don't know, the science made her arm stretch out or look like it stretched out. again, I don't dislike it yet. I am disinterested, but I will say what had us laughing like consistently. There were parts I enjoyed. The family dynamic is fantastic.
I love her dad. Her dad's amazing.
Her dad was great in the video game, the Avengers video game. It's the same type of character. So I love the dad. I thought the mom was super funny, just very like blunt funny.
Listen, I would have went to Avengers Con with if that was my dad, I would have went with him in a heartbeat.
That Avengers Con looked really lame, but if it was a real Avengers Con, I would have gone. That looked like a Party City.
Feige's talking about it.
It looked like Party City.
Our subscriber Kevin Feige was talking about making Avengers Con.
I would go. We could do an on-site episode.
Sure.
I also want to point out, and this is a known fact, but I forgot the actress's name, so apologize. Shout out to the actress who plays Kamala Khan. This is her first ever acting job.
I think she did great.
She's super likable, fun. You know, I just wish I knew where we were going.
For me, the episode felt a little long, and I don't think it would have felt as long if I had some idea where we were going.
Even if we dropped one Easter egg of like, oh, is that like, I'm just saying like Thor. Oh, is Thor streaking? Like, just give me something to drop me into our universe that we're so familiar with. Because right now there's nothing.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I don't know. I'm gonna watch the rest of it because that's what we do. And
hey, and listen, episode 2 that came out today while we're recording this very well might answer several of these complaints.
And I'm sure it probably does. So I'm not gonna throw it shade yet. It is in a very unique style, clearly inspired by Spider-Verse and
which I like it. It was kind of cool with the art in the background and her pictures. Cool.
And I forgot what's that other movie that it's obviously inspired by also.
Marvel movie?
No, it's not a Marvel movie.
Scott Pilgrim?
That's it.
Is it that one?
Yeah.
Like the comic book comes to life kind of deal?
Yeah, you could definitely see it drew from that. Definitely drew from like Spider-Verse, certain aesthetics, whole pop, so again, all good, visual pleasing, all that. I'm reserving judgment. I'm not going to throw it shade. I'm reserving judgment until the end of the series.
Yeah, because right now this looks like the truest origin story maybe that we've ever gotten, and they very well might slow play this, and it already seems like they have. So
yeah, I mean,
I guess we'll see. All right. So now's that time.
It is that time.
It is time to spin the spinny wheel. Then we will take a couple minutes break and return and fight to the bloody end. Even though last time War Machine and Ragman agreed to be friends. Which is probably not the way
I want a good one this time.
Yeah. All right. So allow me to do the thing with the lists in which I move them around a bunch. Okay. Boys and girls, here are the lists.
Okay.
Would you like 1 or 2? We could also change this to left or right if you want to get spicy.
I feel like every choice I ever make is the wrong choice.
You always preface your choice by saying, well, I picked list 2 and list 1 always lets me down, and then it sucks every time.
I've established that as a standard now, so I have to talk my way through my decision process. I'm gonna have to go with 2 one more time.
Okay. List 2. We've pressed the spinny button. Here it goes. It's doing its thing. Your character is Signal. It is a is this the Marvel list? No. It is a DC character called Signal. So here we go with mine.
And watch you get Spider-Man.
I don't want to waste Spider-Man on this one. I don't know anything. I literally have never heard of Signal. My character is Bucky Barnes.
This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Yo, this is rigged. Signal.
But am I Bucky or am I the Winter Soldier?
Signal.
We don't know anything about these people. I know who Bucky is. Let's make that distinction now. Am I Bucky or am I the Winter Soldier? Or am I the White Wolf, as he's called later on?
I think they're all applicable. I don't think you have to restrict yourself. I mean, they're all him. You know?
All right. Well, boys and girls, ladies and gents, when we come back, Bucky Barnes versus a light in the sky. I don't know what Signal is, but that's the best I've got.
I'm going to get my tartar sauce and research.
We'll be right back. Ladies and gents, we have returned, potentially enlightened, and I don't mean that as a joke necessarily.
Very good.
But the Signal is part of the Bat family, as we've learned, the uninitiated as we are. Maybe you already knew that upon the wheel spin, but maybe a little bit of a renewed sense of confidence now.
Perhaps.
Perhaps not as well. So let's just go over the ground rules here. He is the Signal. I am Bucky Barnes in a mashup of all his forms. We have Bucky Barnes, the person, the Winter Soldier. I get the shield from when he was Cap for that period of time. You know, we can't be unrealistic with how we mishmash the different storylines that have been told, but basically anything is allowed here. So I usually do the opening argument for you, but I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to go opening argument first.
Please do.
Bucky Barnes has experienced life in many different ways, as a brainwashed captive, as a hero, as a second-guessing hero with a question mark next to it. He has seen a lot. It has hardened him. He is whether he was in his good days, his bad days, or his indifferent days, he is an expert marksman, hunter, if you want to call it that, a master in espionage, a master in staying hidden if he'd like to stay hidden, a master of hand-to-hand combat, loyal sometimes to a fault. Not that his friends are going to come by, but you know, he is a loyal human being.
He's definitely loyal, at least to Cap. So
yes,
loyalty.
Of course, this is all to not even This is all to not even point out the fact that he has a bionic arm that doesn't grant him super strength, but it does grant him significantly increased strength. If you really go down the rabbit hole, as I did, the Infinity Formula granted him all these types of things: speed, strength, knowledge, healing properties, you know, the Happy Meal, as we've come to call it. I'm not going to go too overboard with that, but the fact that those things are available to me is a nice addition here. Another key thing to point out, I am literally 100 years old. I am very wise. I am very knowledgeable. I am not reactionary. You are a young adult to mid-20s at best, so you are still raw as a character, as a hero. I think I would have the edge there as just someone who's quite literally been around the block several times. I know that you are legitimately, super powered, and you have a shiny costume.
I do.
But I don't need these things because I am a soldier. I am a survivor. I am the Winter Soldier. Thank you. The floor is yours. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, my name is Duke Thomas.
Cool name.
I'm known as the Signal.
Yes, we called him Signal before. There is a pronounced
There
the.
is anytime you have a "the" in front of something, it's definitely
distinguished.
Exactly. So, yeah, he's from Prime Earth, Gotham. Was part of the Robins. You know, turns out, you know, he wasn't just a guy whose parents were, you know, killed by exposure to Joker toxin. He was also a metahuman. And metahuman in DC means, you know, a mutant in Marvel powers. It's the same thing, different vernacular, same thing. And I'll go into that in a second. But outside of that, he is street smarts. He was in and out of foster homes. Again, grew up in Gotham, not the nicest place to grow up in.
A survivor in his own right.
Exactly right. Is he 100 years old? No. Does he collect AARP? No. But he is a survivor in his own right.
Yes.
And he, like, not too dissimilar, but maybe not to the same extent, has seen a lot of things, very street smart. I'm sure, you know, he became kind of kind of a deviant, kind of acting out because of his troubled times he was in the bad place he was in with looking for his parents before we got confirmation that they were gone. But he checked the sewers and he was all scared. So he was acting out. I'm sure he's probably good at lockpicking. We know how handy that comes in.
That's called a callback.
Yeah, a little callback there. But outside of superpowers, he also has martial arts, hand-to-hand fighting, genius level intellect.
Of course, but because of course he does.
Why not? I'm not even talking about his superpowers yet. He's skilled with an eskrima, which is a little martial arty type weapon. Mentored by Bruce Wayne. He did become one of the Robins and apparently started a We Are the Robins movement. Big R there. So that's all the regular stuff he has. But again, student to Batman. Batman is his martial arts teacher. Batman is that is saying something because we're talking about Batman here. So
the best of the untalented, non-superpowered superheroes
exactly.
that exist.
So now this is before my superpowers. Now let's go into my superpowers as a metahuman.
Well, but may I ask first? Trained by Batman, sure.
Yeah.
Skill set wise, you're not Batman.
No, but Robin is.
This is beside the powers, though.
Yeah. Robin is any one of the Robins. Pick whether it's Dick Grayson, whether it's Damian Wayne, Jason Todd, who later became the Red Hood. All of the Robins are really skilled fighters. Do they wear exceptionally colorful costumes? Yes,
with an exceptionally lack of pantage.
Yeah, that's the Dick Grayson lack. Actually, Jason Todd didn't wear pants either, but whatever, it's fine. But they're really good martial artists. Yes. They all have kind of troubled, tragic pasts. Some of them are acrobats. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, the Robins are no joke, and Duke Thomas is no exception to that. He is highly skilled, trained by Batman. His intellect is genius level. He could outthink most people in any situation and plan for almost any situation. Going again, before we go into the superpowers, let's look at what we got over with the Winter Soldier, aka Bucky Barnes,
who has, if I might interject, taken down governments. So continue.
Yeah, absolutely, and props to that. But we know your arm. I think in some sources it's vibranium, other things it's something else. But your metal arm, was it made in Wakanda? Was it made here? Regardless, we know that arm can be taken off. Because the Dor Milaje quickly took your arm off when they came in. So again, now
your goal is always to remove my things. You're like, I'll just take your Iron Man or your War Machine helmet off. I'll just do this.
Look, at the end of the day, the Dor Milaje aren't superhumans either. They're just highly skilled fighters.
Yes, with sticks.
And I use an Eskrima and have genius level and martial arts. Believe me, the arm's coming off. It's coming off. I might even hit you with it.
This was my legit question, though. So my arm acts as an EMP, for better and worse, because if I activate an EMP, my arm also does not work. Does this impact your metahuman abilities?
Not at all. Unfortunately, not at all. Now, if I was War Machine, that would be a real problem.
Yes.
Thankfully, I'm not.
And thankfully, they're not on the same wheel because they have experienced history with each other. So
that is true.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's talk about powers. So I feel like I've gotten you beat before I even go into my powers. I think the big thing with you and
you have me beat before you go into the powers. Absolutely not.
And that's what I'm going with. But whatever, it's okay. So now let's go into powers. Powers alone, I have you crushed.
Because you have them. Because I don't have any.
A plethora of powers to which to draw from. I have an encyclopedia and flip through to find what I will kill you with.
Yes.
So let's start with this. So he can manipulate both light and dark. In an assortment of ways. One, he can become invisible. All of it revolves around bending light in different kinds of ways.
Refraction.
Yes, thank you. He's essentially immortal. That's a start.
That's BS.
You can check it. I'm immortal.
I don't care what the DC men and women have written. There's 0% chance. There's 0% chance I'm taking that seriously. All right. I am actually immortal, semi-immortal.
You age slowly. I'm immortal.
The Signal DC Comics immortality. I need the internet to prove this to me.
Yeah, immortal.
He just reveals that he is an immortal being.
Immortal.
No.
Look, if the internet says it, it must be true. I'm immortal. Look, I'm not even done telling you how I'm going to kill you. I'm just saying I'm immortal.
This is ridiculous.
Are you calling malarkey?
I'm not calling malarkey on the actual evidence of it. I am calling malarkey on why on earth is a Bat Family character immortal.
Listen, I don't write this stuff.
You should, because it wouldn't be this bad.
But you know who could is Duke, because he is good at creative writing.
He is an expert in creative writing.
So, which is another skill. All right, so photokinesis. So I can use my abilities to different ways, manipulate, absorb, all sorts of that stuff, light and dark. One of them is ghost vision. Now this is a clever little thing. It doesn't
what the
mean
hell is going on?
I will tell you. It doesn't mean that I see ghosts. It means somehow, some way through creative writing, I can see how objects affect light. So I can essentially see into the past by like 5 minutes by things that have passed through it. Essentially, ghosts. So, look, creative writing.
This is idiotic, and I object to everything that's being said.
I don't mind. I have cosmic perception, which, you know,
Gotham City and cosmic should never be a thing.
No, I don't think I need that to take you down. I do have X-ray vision, which is very important because then I can see, you know, what you're wearing under your fatigues, what kind of guy, you know,
underpants, or maybe I go commando because I am one.
I will say I also have.
I was in the Howling Commandos.
Oh. I also have telescopic vision.
What the hell does that mean?
I can see really far away. I also have.
So can I when I'm staring at you through my sniper rifle.
But I don't need to be near you because I also have microscopic vision. I can see the tiniest subatomic level things because that's just in there as in my plethora of powers. But hold on, I'm not done yet.
I hate it here.
I also have the invisibility, like I mentioned. I turn invisible, I sneak up on you, snap your neck, whatever. It's all good. I also have.
This character's more overpowered than Darth Vader. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I know. I have to. Okay. I'm just checking this. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what umbrokinesis is, but according to that, I have shadow absorption that I can pull shadows toward myself and reveal more light in the process. So if you're hiding in the dark,
why has this character not been given a crappy CW show if he could do all these things?
He definitely needs one. I also have shadow generation, so I can expel darkness and use it and do all sorts of different stuff. I could also shadow bend, create shadow puppets essentially, but without doing that.
But why is Batman even still relevant in this Gotham City?
Don't worry, I have more. This one's a kicker too. This is called shadow traversal. I can essentially teleport through shadow. I can appear wherever there's a shadow. I just boop, boop, boop. I can sneak up on you. There's a shadow back at you. Guess what? So am I.
I hate it here.
We're not done yet. He has. Oh, did I mention he has a healing ability?
So do I. At least we can match that.
We can match that. But you're also not a metahuman. You're like a lab rat who got a little extra. So,
I'm a superhuman. But
considering everything else, I'm sure mine is probably a significantly higher thing. But we also have power amplification.
You can make sounds really loud.
Okay, well.
Or does that mean like you can just suddenly punch me much harder than normal?
If I'm in the presence of other metahumans,
which you won't be here.
No, I won't be, so it doesn't really apply. But they become like enhanced by being near me. I'm like a buffer for other people.
So you don't become advanced.
Am I missing anything else?
Oh, Lord, I hope not.
It's like, however, hours. Heal rapidly. So I guess that pretty much covers that. Now, outside, I think we covered some of the other things, my genius level intellect, all that stuff. I'm not sure what polymath is. Math was my worst subject, but he has something polymath.
Great.
I'm a great leader, martial arts. Yeah, I train with Batman. I said that. And I have
my best friend is Captain America. That rivals being trained by Batman.
I have enhanced combat perception.
So you're Taskmaster. You can just learn what I'm doing.
My precognition and enhanced visual senses make me uniquely perceptive in a fight, and able to react faster than normally possible and detect all weak points with who I'm fighting.
Okay, enough out of you. Here's what's going to happen. So I have two solutions to this fight. One is real and one is not. I will start with the not one.
Sure.
I will steal your Mockingbird argument and just take a helicarrier and fly it into you. I'm not sure you can defend against a helicarrier.
I won't have to, because I can shadow traverse onto the helicarrier as long as there's a shadow there.
There won't be. We're going to be in cloaked invisibility mode.
I can see invisibility. That's also in my power.
Oh, swell. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? But there's a certain intangible quality about the Winter Soldier. And when it's David versus Goliath, you got to go intangibles.
Yes.
Captain America, Steve Rogers, never backed away from a fight. And against all odds, he always won. Most of the time. So he entrusted me, not in the MCU, that's Sam, in the comics and the history and the lore, entrusted me with his shield. He said, "Oh, I don't think I will fight anymore. You are now Captain America, Captain Bucky, Captain Winter Soldier, Esquire Jr." So just by picking up that shield, I can do just about anything if I set my mind to it.
That shield is a symbol. It is a symbol
made out of vibranium.
Made out of vibranium and of perseverance.
Exactly. I shall persevere.
Inspiring.
I shall inspire.
And it will continue to inspire long after I kill you.
No, there will be no death here. Other than yours.
Oh, I am a good guy, so maybe just break you in a minute.
I am sometimes good guy adjacent. So I survived the clutches of Hydra, which I think is something you've never done, mostly because that does not exist in your world. I am apparently severely underpowered here, despite the fact that we were laughing when you rolled signal on the wheel.
Well, I was laughing when I saw his powers next.
Yes, exactly. So,
I
just think from an experience standpoint, from a tactical planning standpoint, from a I've seen it all over the course of 100 years of my life standpoint, except maybe mutants and the X-Men, because I'm not quite sure how we fit into that conversation yet. However, we will find a way. I will infiltrate whatever the Batcave as a master of espionage, and I will ruin all of your fun toys and devices and take the kryptonite and shoot you with it, and it won't do a thing, but I will at least injure you, and you will say, "Ow, kryptonite," and then I will surprise you and win.
Well, my enhanced combat perception would probably prevent the surprise from happening. I think I would not have to be even near you to defeat you. See, I feel like, I could be at a great distance and use my telescopic vision to identify where you are. Then,
but I am. This is serious now. A master of espionage.
You are.
You might know that the Winter Soldier is your target, though I'm not sure you'd be given a target. I would be given a target, to be completely frank. But I don't. I just put on my plain colored hat and denim jacket that all the people wear when they hide, and the second I slap those sunglasses on, you're never going to know who I am.
That's pretty good, if not for my genius intellect to determine, and the fact that my mentor is the greatest detective of all time.
But as we established in The Batman, really, really crappy detective.
That was only first year. that was rookie Batman. That wasn't like, the main Batman. So it's literally, I could turn invisible and then shadow traverse right over to you. And before you know I'm there, take your arm off. And then, and I am immortal. So, at the end of the day, I win.
Immortal doesn't mean you can't be killed. We established that.
No, it doesn't. But my super healing.
Because you're not bulletproof. If I hit you with a stray, even if you're dodging and dipping and ducking and all the things from dodgeball.
Mhm.
If I hit you with a stray, it's going to hurt.
Oh, I'm not saying it's going to hurt. It will definitely not be comfortable. So there is that. But between the healing and again the shadow traversal, which is a big one, I could also pull other. This is the other thing too with shadow traversal. I could also pull you through the shadow.
Of course you can.
So not only can I travel through them, but I could. And keep in mind, he also manipulates the shadows, so I can pull shadows to me and expel them out. So I could expel one in back of you and literally reach in, kind of like the spot, if we're familiar with the spot, and pull you straight through. I could put a shadow at your feet.
This is the least Bat Family Bat character ever created. And I mean this with the utmost respect. Did a 9-year-old create this character? Because, my God, it has everything you could ever think of.
Yeah, it is true. Well, he's from Prime Earth. This isn't like main, this isn't like main timeline Batman. This is Prime Earth. So
I don't care. We're dropped into a neutral Earth universe.
Yes, correct. We're maybe the Beyonder put us here. Maybe this is a
think of it as Super Smash Bros, where the big hand just comes and grabs us and drops us in Donkey Kong World or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think that you do have another one of your Achilles heels outside of your detachable arm, and the fact that there is not an arm there when it's detached. Is the fact that you have a lot of issues.
I do.
Your troubled past haunts you, and you tend to disappear for long periods of time because of your troubled past.
I'm not disappearing from a place I've been dropped without my say, but I will say my mental instability could actually be an advantage here because I might just go crazy.
Yeah, that is true.
And if Baron Zemo happens to be echoing in my ear and says the Foxtrot strawberry 7-Eleven thing,
I'm Taco Bell,
I'm your biggest nightmare.
Oh,
tartar sauce. I think tartar sauce is in there.
Tartar sauce is one of the wet noodles, another one.
Tartar sauce, wet noodle, shout out adjacent. And then I am suddenly an agent of Hydra again.
True. I can see that being a thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I lose. This was possibly more one-sided than Black Adam versus Mockingbird.
I feel vindicated because because the Mockingbird Black Adam thing, this is close to that. Yeah, this is karma for you.
I still cannot accept and wrap my head around the fact that a character that nobody's ever heard of is beating one of the most famous comic book characters of all time. Not the best, but one of the most famous for sure. I'm not going to accept this, and I'm gonna go to sleep thinking about this. But here we are.
We can revisit this. But yeah, I think I know what you need to pull this one out.
Yes, let's close it out with our words of wisdom from
I think
Grogu
you need
himself.
a baby Yoda to try and pull a win out of this.
There
you
he
want
is.
to borrow it?
No, it's okay. I will come powered up next time.
Okay. Well, I have to say, I was not excited to get the signal.
Well, the thing is, so no, you were not excited to get Signal.
Yeah.
Then when you learned he was the Signal, the game quite literally changed.
That's what we were saying. It makes a big difference when you have a "the" in front of your name.
Mm-hmm.
So I am
like for the sports fans out there, it's not Ohio State University, it's the Ohio State University, and that changes instantly the mentality. But let us close with words of wisdom that are not always wisdomly, and sometimes the sentences are barely words. But here we are, and let's end.
This is a quote I like from the Theodore Roosevelt.
Good old Teddy R.
He said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." So in looking at that, I think it's very true. So I think stop looking at the perception you have of other people's lives. Appreciate who you are, what you've accomplished, what you have yet to accomplish, and just be happy. And the biggest way you can do that is like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
I was going to add that in if you didn't, but I had faith that you were going to.
Please, you can.
Oh, like and subscribe.
There we go.
Like and subscribe. Comment like our friend Share. Share your thoughts. Second time I'm using that pun. You should fire me from the show for that. But share your thoughts on all the, like we talked about, umpteen different things in this episode. Share your thoughts. Please make me feel better in the comments that Bucky Barnes got destroyed by a fake character. And that's it. We are nerds. We are idiots. And we will see you next week.